Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to this DuckSoup webinar. My name is Will van der Sanden, founder of DuckSoup, and I'll be running the webinar today. And we also have Jin on the webinar.
Hello everyone.
And Jin will be taking your questions during the session. So that at the end of the session we can close with a Q&A session. So feel free to leave your questions in the chat, and then I'll just get cracking on the actual webinar. So today what we're going to show you is how to build a simple lead generation dashboard in Google Sheets. It's sort of a follow-up from last webinar that I did on the action log, and now what I'm going to show you and actually build from scratch is a simple dashboard showing you which profiles you're connected to, or which profiles responded, etc. So for that, I will need to start with a share. So I will share my window here. Just 1 second. Okay. Come on. Right. Yeah, so the options. Okay, you should see my screen now. Jin, can you see my screen now? Okay, excellent. Right. So we're going to build a simple dashboard. So we're going to need Zapier. I'm going to need Google Sheets. This is just a demo prep I did. I'm just going to create it from scratch. So in Google Sheets, first off, I will create a new spreadsheet called demo dash, and that's going to be our dashboard. It's going to be a basic one. You can always add bells and whistles later with triggers and colors and stuff like that. But for now, it's just going to be the key information. The data on the dashboard will be when the lead was added, the unique ID of the lead, the URL in LinkedIn, obviously the first name, not the first name, the first name, the last name, when we invited, when they accepted, when we sent the follow-up, and when they responded. And within the response, what I will also would like to track is the response text. And the response URL, so we can easily find the response in LinkedIn. So we're going to use these fields on our dashboard. When the lead was added, the ID, the URL, the first name, last name, when they were invited, accepted, when we sent the follow-up, when they responded, and what the text was, and what the link is to that conversation. Right, first of all, we need to create some zaps now. Making a zap. We basically only need the webhooks for this exercise. In total, we're going to create 5 different webhooks, all zaps with webhooks. So we're going to catch the hook. Well, the first, we need this link, which is the link where we're going to post the data. So that link will be pasted in here, which is the options to connect in DuckSoup. As you can see, I might go through this a bit quickly, but there's a lot to do. So you can always record it, play back in slow motion. So enabling this will send profile visit data to the webhook, and that's how I can receive it here. So now I continue, and I will need to generate some data. I've opened a profile here that I'm going to use for that purpose. So I'll just refresh the profile, wait for that to load, and at some point you will see in the top right got profile, and that is the trigger that will basically mean that the data has been sent as well. Oh, not here. So now when I click test and review, I got some data here, which is the visit data that's been picked up by Zapier. That's what we want. That's what we're going to use to build the Zap. Well, so from this visit data, which is basically the profile data, we're going to create a row in the spreadsheet. And so we're going to use Google Sheets for that. And so we're going to basically look up a row. So you go into the search, look up a row, create one if none is found. That's the function that we want here. And you need to select a Google account for that. And now when I click here, I should see the demo dash. So the demo dash, that's the spreadsheet I just created. And the demo dash will have one sheet in there, sheet 1. And then I need to specify how I'm going to find the row that I want to update or create. And that's the ID column. It's column B. And I can find the value from the payload, which is the ID field in your visit payload. So using that, Zapier will be able to find the right row in the spreadsheet. And what I want to do, if the row is not there, I want to create it. So if the row is not there, what I'll do is I want to create it. I want to have a date and time of when it was created. We want the ID. We want the URL, which is the profile. Data profile. Actually, Zapier made a change. This is now actually in alphabetical order. I think it's a Zapier change. Maybe it's a plugin for Sheets, but it's a bit easier now. The first name, the last name, and the rest of the fields will be populated by other Zaps. So we can leave those blank. Okay, so this is the data that is going to be used to find the row or create the row. So when I do test and review, you will see that the row has been created for this profile with the date, the ID, the first name and the last name. Okay, so that's now been populated by this Zap. So that's done. So actually just want to add one thing. So we want to make sure that we only run this action when we get a specific on event that is a visit event. So we're going to filter basically when type matches visits. Okay, now this is actually a bug in Zapier. Now it says here Zap would not have continued, but that's not really true. Now when I click done, I click again, and then go back here, and then test the exact same data, test the same data again, and now boom, it's green. So you'll find that there are some of the glitches in Zapier. Right, so that's all from here. So this is, we'll create, I need to name the Zap. Otherwise, all your Zaps will be anonymous. This will be a visit to row. So from a visit, I'm going to create a row. That's all. And I'll switch it on. Okay. Right. Next up, we need to create, or we need to basically, well, specify or add some additional data as the profile is taken through the different steps of the funnel. So the next thing you do with profile is generally is you invite them. So what we're going to do is trigger an invite action. Now, for that, I'm going to use a dummy profile. But first of all, I'm going to create a new zap that's going to catch the invite actions. So I'm going to make a zap. Again, it has to be a webhook. And it's going to catch the hook here. I just need to copy this URL into options. So I need another webhook that is going to send action events. So the invite is an action, and later on you'll see that sending a message is also an action. So that's how we're going to populate the follow-up field. But for now, the action that we're looking at is the connection action. I have a support article here actually that is of interest. So it explains all about the action events that happen. These are events that happen when different automated activity is triggered in DuckSoup. So the one we're looking at now is this one, the connect profile, and this is the sort of payload you can expect. Now, going back here, I need to just tell Zapier to find some data. And what I'm going to do is just invite someone. For that, I'm just going to send a connection request and enable it on automated visits. That way I can just basically open a profile. Let me find the right profile. So let's say this person I want to invite. So I'm just going to refresh it and let this load. Now this person will be sent a connection request. Just hang in there for a second. Okay. So this is triggered because I've enabled connection requests and I've enabled automated actions on manual visits. So this is exactly running the same automation that it would run when you trigger the action in a different way. Okay. And so now this profile has been added. So now when I go back, you actually see that the profile is also in here. Right? So it's been added to the spreadsheet. But now we want to populate this column. So for that, we need to just pick up the data here. So this event that we receive is an action event, and specifically, so you can see here, type equals action, and it's a connect profile event. So that's exactly the data we need. So done anything here, and we're going to make sure that we filter based on the right type of event. So we only want the connect profile exactly matches. And that's because other actions might also be sent to this zap. Okay. So this filter now means make sure that the next step will only be executed if the action is a connect. So for the next step, I need to go back to Sheets. I need to basically update a spreadsheet row. I was going to actually use I need to update this one here. Update row. Okay, for that I need the right account. And I need to select the spreadsheet. You need to select the spreadsheet very often when setting this up. Somehow Zapier doesn't just make you default to the same one. So now I've set up this spreadsheet, and the next thing I need to do is add a row. So we add a step to find the right row. That's critical in updating the correct row, obviously also to make sure that the data makes sense. So I need to add a search step here where, again, I need to specify the spreadsheet. So this is I'm selecting the same thing twice here, basically. And now I need to specify that the ID is going to be matched by the profile ID that is in the data payload here. Okay. And using that, I'll also actually create a row if it doesn't exist. It's just to make sure that the row is always there. So what I'm going to do is just create a row with only the ID. Okay, so now when I test and review this will only find the row. It's not going to actually update the row yet. This step is only to find or create the row. The next step is to update the spreadsheet. So that's this one here. So crucial here, custom value for row ID is the actual result. That's the result of the search that was done. So that's how the two steps are linked together. And here what I need to do is only update the invited column, and I'm going to update it with the timestamp here. And that's it. So now click on continue. I click on test, and now when I go back to my demo dash, you'll see that the invited column has been populated for this link, for this profile. And this will now happen for all the profiles that are auto invited in LinkedIn using DuckSoup. They will automatically be timestamped in this way. Right. The next step is actually it's going to be the follow-up. I'm going to do the acceptance after that. The reason for that is the follow-up, which is really just an automated message sent at a specific time, is basically a message that is sent. So it's this action. The way that the message is scheduled is obviously via the auto follow-up, but the way that you can detect that it's happening is in that way. All right. So what I'm going to do is use the option in Zapier to clone this whole sequence. So I'm going to just click on done editing. All right. So I need to name this. So I'm going to name this record invite. Okay. And I'm going to switch it on. And then when I go back here, now I have two zaps, visit to row, to create a row, and then to record the invite. So here, what I'll do is I'll copy the zap. And this actually results in a different hook. Each zap has got a unique hook. So you'll see that if I go here, this is a new hook. So I need to put that hook into the connect options. I need to add another one. And so now basically I'm sending the action events to a different hook as well. And this hook, which related to this step here, is going to update the time of when a message has been sent, which is the follow-up message. Okay, so I need to feed it some data because this hook that is the sample that is in here is from the previous SAP. So I need to send someone a message to be able to generate the data or the sample. So for that, I'll go back to the actions. Disable this here. What I'm going to do is just send a simple personalized connection to a first degree. So a personalized message to a first degree connection. I'm talking too fast for myself even. And I'll just send it to this dummy profile. This is just a first degree connection that I'm using for this purpose, that I can, when I hit refresh here, you'll see that the actual visit is going to update the spreadsheet and include this profile. And sending the message will then be populated inside the ZAP, so I can use that sample data to configure the other steps of the ZAP. So it's now sending the message. As you can see, I practiced this one before. So this one has just been sent now. I can now close this profile, I think. Well, let's leave it open. More importantly, now John Doe is in here as well, so you can see all the profiles are going to be added automatically here. But now what I'm going to do is populate this column, or define the steps to, for Zapier to do that for me. Right, I have a new hook here, which this one here, which is the action to message the profile. Like I said, that's exactly the action that's going to happen when an auto follow-up is sent. So I've selected, done. Now only continue if. I need to filter out the correct action in here. So instead of connect profile, I need to filter out the message profile. Okay. Yeah, it says it wouldn't have continued, but as I just showed you, that's just a glitch in Zapier. Okay, you see, now it's green. So the filter setup. So the next step is to find the row, and that is actually the same. So as you can see, by cloning the Zap, all this tedious stuff in Google Sheets, you don't have to do twice, which is very helpful, I find. So it will find the based on the profile ID in the message. I do need to send the data. That's to make sure that I can configure the next step in the Zap. Okay, it found the row because it just populated it because I switched on the initial Zap as well. That creates, or that uses the visit data to create the row. Done everything, and the next step is update the row in Google Sheets. So I need to update the row. As you hear it, the row ID is already from the previous step. This is all cloned from the other Zap. So now I need to specify when the follow-up was sent, and that's in here. In the catch hook, the time. That's it. That's all it is. All the other fields I don't care about. Okay, and now I'll just send a okay, and now when I go back here, you can see the field for follow-up has been populated. So now all the follow-up messages, obviously making sure there's only one. This is just a simple dashboard. Well, now I can now see when they have been sent. So when the invite has happened, and now what I'll show you is how to also do the same for the accepted and the responded. And those are actually two different types of events. These two, the invited and follow-up, are actions, and the accepted and responded are messages. So that's these ones here. So we've done the actions now. Now we're going to do the messages. Yeah, which come in different flavors, but the most important ones are these one, member to member, and the acceptance. So for that, let me just give this a better name. So this is actually called record follow-up. Okay. And done here. I'll switch it on. Okay, so now I've got 3 zaps, 2 more to go. Let's see if I can do them in 5 minutes. Make a zap. So again, webhook, we're going to receive messages from Dagsup via a catch. I'm going to copy this unique address here and put it in the next entry here. And this is going to be a message. Okay. All right, so now I will be receiving messages, message events on this webhook. I'm going to go back to this step to configure the Zap. I need some data. So there are a few ways of getting the data. The first one I will do is the acceptance message. Well, I say that actually, but it could be different depending on where we are. So the messages will be read by the message bridge, and you can just simply trigger that to enable the bridge. When you enable it, it's going to open, and as you can see, it opens the different, basically different message boxes. It now opened Sales Navigator. Well, it tried to, but it couldn't, because this profile doesn't have Sales Navigator. If you switch it off and on again, it will open a different inbox, and now this is the one I actually was after. It's now checking for new connections. So this tab was actually opened by the message bridge. As you can see, it's finding all these new connections, and I'm just going to close it because it's generated enough data for me to work with. And I will just switch this off now. And now when I go back in here, the data will have been sent to this ZAP. I will have a number of them. Let's see if, let's see, where is this? Yeah, this is the one I was after. So I'm going to use this payload to configure this ZAP. So the first thing I need to do is filter. I need to filter to make sure that only accepted messages are going to be continuing. And so it needs to be of this here, data type exactly matches. I can copy the data from here as well. I'll just paste it in here. So that may basically make sure that I only receive, or that the ZAP will only receive that data. Okay, it's green. Excellent. Next step, basically the same as in the other one. I need to find the row in the spreadsheet and update the field. So this is slightly tedious. I need to update the row. Okay. And I need to again specify the account, specify which spreadsheet to use, specify which sheet on the spreadsheet. I need to add a search step, and that's to find the right row in the spreadsheet. And somehow I again need to specify the spreadsheet. And the lookup column is going to be the ID, and the lookup value will be coming from the catch, and it's the data from ID, which is the unique ID of the profile. All right, and what I want to do also create a row if it doesn't exist, and that's just to avoid the data just being all pasted in row 0. So what I'll do is create a row with the ID of the profile and nothing else. Okay. So this will only find the data, and the next step is to update the spreadsheet. So that's in this step. So now it has found the row, and now I just need to populate where to put the timestamp. And so this was the acceptance. So I'm going to get the data, and there's the data of the acceptance is actually in here. It's data timestamp. It's slightly different, and that's exactly when the profile accepted this connection request, which is different from the other timestamp, which is when the event occurred. Okay. I'll test that, and then you'll see that for this profile, now the acceptance date has been added. Okay. Excellent. So now we have invited, accepted, follow-up. Now we just need the responded timestamp and the text and the URL. Fortunately, we can clone this from the previous, from the one we just built. So we're done with this one. We'll switch it on. And we'll name it record acceptance. And we're going to clone record acceptance to create a record response. Or copy, not clone. Okay, so this will be record response. For that, we also need to get a different data because the current data that is in the configuration is the data to do the for the acceptance. So I'm going to put this new webhook in here so that it receives the data from Taksu. And now when I go back to the to Zapier, I'm done editing. Oh, I just need to get. We're going to find more data. Go to options, and basically again I need the message bridge to read the data. I actually marked a message unread from this person, so I actually went into the message box before to mark the message unread, and now when it checks the message box, I see that this is it was marked unread by me before. You'll see that once the Ducksup is done here, that the Zap will have received the sample data. Okay. It is checking, and it is checking. I think it's just making sure that that it's loaded, and I'm pretty sure it will continue. There you go. This is also when the tags are added, the system tags, as you can see. Right, so Ducksup close the tab. I can switch the bridge off again and go back in here to Oh, there you go. I thought it was that. Right, so it found the data. Right, so we should have, yeah, this is the person we're after, and we have a message received. And this is specifically the one we're after, member to member, as I explained to you with this one here. So I go back in here, I selected the right hook sample, done editing, only continue if. We only want to continue if this is a member to member. Okay. Done. We need to find the row in the spreadsheet. So we just need to, this is all the same. This is all the same here. All we need to do here is run the test. And that's to make sure that the next step is configurable in Zapier. Okay, and now in here, so we're going to customize the row, and instead of this is not accepted, so now it's the timestamp for responded, which is in here, the text that was in the message of the response, which is this one here, and the URL, which is a link to the actual conversation in LinkedIn, which is in the payload as well. There you go. So now those fields will be recorded. And now when I do a retest and review, you'll see that those fields will end up in the spreadsheet. Okay, there you go. So we have the timestamp. We have the text. And we have the URL. So when I click on this, it will open the conversation. So there you go. So now we've got, all this will be recorded automatically. So I just need to click on done here. Switch on the Zap. Yeah, okay. And now, by virtue of these 5 Zaps, Ducksup will automatically record the entire process that happens for your lead generation in this spreadsheet. So they'll be added, new ones will be added, this will be automatically populated, and from here you can basically follow exactly what's happening in your process. Whew. Right, I think that is that is all I wanted to show you for now. Let me see. Jin, are you still there? Excellent, excellent. Okay. Well, if there are any questions, now is the time. Let's make sure that we finish at 1:45.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. So we don't have that many questions, to be honest.
All right.
We have one from Mario. He's saying, is there a way to get the date without hour and minutes?
Yes, well, let me share again. So basically in, okay, hang on, sorry. I need to just share this again. So what you can do you can add a step where you can format this one here. You can use a formatter to in effect to select a substring of the field that is coming from Ducksup. So using that, you can basically convert the data into something that is more with what you require. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Also, another question from Timothy. Can you isolate accepts and responses into different tables, sheets? For example, one list for recording leads and in account X and another list for recording leads into account Y.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you have seen, each step, each step in here that I created. Let me just switch this one back on here. They all start in this. They all have the same mechanism, so they always look up the sheet. And in this step, you can basically specify a different sheet for different parts of your process. So you can either use completely different sheets, or you can use different worksheets within a spreadsheet. So yeah, you can customize that in different ways.
Another question from Mario, because this setup can allow, we have to use 5 zaps. He's concerned that if we will repeat this with hundreds of leads, there will be an additional fee on Zapier. Do you know anything of this?
I don't know the exact. Well, I don't know how many zaps you are sort of. You can use from a particular tier. I'm just showing you what can be done. And I think within the context of a lead generation process where you're generating business, you're going to be spending some money to do that as well.
Thank you. Another question from Peter. Can there be a type of trigger alert set up so I get a message in my mail when a response is received?
Absolutely, absolutely. So what you can do in Zapier as well, so when somebody responds, so in the record response, you can just add another action, and there's an email action, so you can just email, and you can even send the email to yourself, for example. So yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. That's about it. That's
okay.
all the questions I have.
Excellent. I must have been explaining it very well. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for attending. We'll also be sending you an email with a recording where you can play this back in slow motion. I know it was really quick, but there was a lot to show. But as you can see, doing well in this way, it doesn't take much to be able to really get a grip on your process for lead generation in LinkedIn. Okay, that's all for me. Off you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.